Hello there, everyone. I wanted to quickly kind of go through a very important topic. Now, here I have the graph for a particular market structure. This is the pure monopoly. So, the pure monopoly, a single seller, their price makers, and their barriers to entry. Now, when you have a pure monopoly making profits in the short run, this is what the graph looks like. Notice the downward sloping demand curve, the marginal revenue sitting under it. You have your cost curves. Profits are maximized where MC is equal to MR. This gives your profit maximizing quantity. You take it up to where it hits the demand. This gives you your price. And the cost of producing this quantity is right here. Since the price you get from the consumer is higher than the cost, this monopolist is making profits. The opposite is true for losses. You have the profit maximization, which gives you the quantity QM, where it hits the demand, the price. The cost of producing it is higher than the price. These are the losses. This is the situation for a monopoly. Now, one key thing with a monopoly is a monopoly tends to make profits in the short run and the long run because of barriers to entry. So what does that mean? Why are we so concerned with monopolies? What is it about their actions that leads to oversight and regulation? This is what I want to focus on today. Regulating the monopoly. So here we go. We want to focus on regulating the monopoly. And we know we show activities in these market structures with graphs. So let's get to it. Let's set it up. Here's the quantity. We're going to measure price, cost, and revenue here. Let's get the demand curve in there. And here is our marginal revenue. Now remember, we want to show when a monopoly is being regulated, one of the particular outcomes, what it looks like. Okay? Monopolies are highly inefficient. They tend to overcharge and underproduce. And that shouldn't be surprising. The monopoly's price is high and their quantity is low. So what we're going to look at is, we're going to try to figure out what happens if the government intervenes and tries to fix that. Okay? Now let's put in our average cost curve. And now let's put in our marginal cost curve. Now one thing when you're drawing this regulation graph, you'll notice we make sure the MC and the AC meet to the right of the demand curve. So notice I made this happen here. Okay? I made it happen to the right. And you'll see why later. Let's do our thing. Let's analyze this. Let's start by figuring out where monopolies will maximize profits. That's going to happen where MC is equal to MR. This is the profit maximizing quantity. What price will they charge? Well, we take it up to the demand curve. This is the price they will charge. Let's call it PM. How much will it cost? Well, this quantity is costing cost M. Nothing strange. Now remember what we're trying to do. What if the government comes in and tries to fix the monopoly? They know their price is too high and their quantity is too small. So they try to make them efficient. Well, the first thing the government is going to do is, it's going to say, Since you're not being efficient, how do I make you go to an efficient point? Well, you're the government. You could technically make any firm do anything. Okay? So, the government is going to tell this firm to go produce at an efficient quantity. Now, where is that efficient quantity? I'll show you. It's right here, where I'm putting this green star. And notice, I'm going to label it for you. I'm going to call it the efficient point. If you're going, what is happening there? Why is that the efficient point? Well, it's because MC is equal to D, or supply is equal to demand. Remember this? Market equilibrium. That's the best outcome you could get in a market. MC is equal to D is the efficient point, or a social optimum. Okay? The efficient point. Some optimum point for society where we have equilibrium. All good. This is the quantity that gives society the best outcome for them. And this is the price. I'm just labeling them efficient. Now, if you have a keen eye, you should notice if this point is chosen and the firm is charging P efficient, which is pretty low, and giving a quantity Q efficient, notice the cost. It's all the way up here. So the first option of regulation, an efficient point, leads to a loss. Now the question is, can the government realistically tell a firm to move away from making profits and go into losses because it's the best thing for society? Well, we know it's efficient and it's the best thing for society, but the firm is going to go, no, I'm not doing that. So the first option of efficiency can lead to losses. And we see it right here. Which means, if you're the government, you gotta learn to compromise. If this is leading to losses, and the private firm is saying, no, I'm not doing it, you gotta come up with a second option. The second option, I'm gonna label it, is right here. This is called a fair return point. And if you're asking what is happening there, well, at that point, AC is equal to D. The cost is equal to demand. So when that happens, the firm only makes a normal profit. It's a compromise. Compromise because look at where quantity sits. You notice it sits in between. This is what the monopolist wants to do. This is what the government hopes will happen. These are the two extremes. Here is the compromise. Same thing for the price. Bring it over. Notice it sits in between. This is the fair return point. So to summarize, monopolist wants to make profits. Their price is too high, their quantity is too small. The first option for the government is efficiency. Efficiency is flawed for the firm because they make losses, which leads us to the compromise, the fair return. It sits in between the two extremes. This is one view of regulating the monopoly. I hope that was helpful.